Hello everyone and happy Cinco de Mayo. I am going to try and find my way home without GPS so that I can shoot this video. Normally I only shoot these when I'm on routes that I just know by heart so that I don't have to think. But all I have to do is notice one right-hand turn. I simplified the route. I looked at the GPS. It always zigzags me to get to this destination to avoid traffic or whatever. But there's a much more straight route, and I'll do that so that I can get a few more words in, which I love to do when I drive. For some reason, I'm not quite so compelled to do the talking head videos at my computer, although I'm going to do one on a new Mac. I've got an M2 Mac from the office, from work. They replaced the one that had this totally dead battery, which has this unfortunate behavior of forcing you to do a restart every time the power cord gets unconnected. Can you imagine that on a laptop? So at first I tried to live with it, but then I just couldn't, so work swapped it off. And that gives me an opportunity to play with real Apple Silicon for the first time. This is my first M-anything processor from Apple, I think. I forget what's in the iPhones. I think it's A something in the iPhones. But anyway, I will see if my portable Linux virtual machine strategy, which I'm thinking more and more, even though it's going to be under the umbrella of Pipulate for sort of the product that's based on that Linux virtual machine, the Linux VM itself no longer can be Levinux. That's something special. Levinux is this special QEMU on any desktop version that's just super awesome. It has a certain role out there now, and no matter how I've tried to redefine it, it can't, because it's got Facebook fans, almost 1,000. It's weird. So Levinux off the table for that Linux VM. I've experimented with the concept of Drink Me from Alice in Wonderland, which of course has tons of metaphors I can use there. But every time I try and visualize it, it's like a little green bag, a green bag that you carry with you. I always draw Linux as green, the hunter, the linear. It all goes together so well. And so, make it consistent with the diagrams and illustrations I want to draw, which is you carrying around your portable virtual machine in a little green bag called Linux for the rest of your life, really. It's not going to, even with AI and stuff, they're still going to be booting from Linux. They may refine it and make their own versions of it over time, but at heart, Linux won. And, of all the controversial technology tool choices you might make in life, that is the least controversial. That is the least subject to change. There's not going to be some new proprietary thing put in place that becomes more popular than Linux. It's not going to happen. And neither of the two big proprietary platforms that exist today, Windows or Mac, which is a version of Unix, are going to have some sort of groundswell in popularity to replace Linux over pricing and scaling issues alone. It's cheaper to scale on Linux than anything proprietary because of better licensing. So why not realize the promise of Java and BCPL before that, of completely portable code that you don't have to worry about paths breaking and backslashes and non-standard uppercase user directories and all the weird stuff that the proprietary vendors slip in to, ruin even the free and open source foundation the proprietary stuff might be built on. What good is proprietary if the APIs change? You have to abide by their APIs. No, it's the generic Linux API where /user/local is the same across all machines, and your apps don't break. You don't have special things to think about for paths. Everything just works. Everything just works when you choose Linux as your foundation platform with the least proprietary API modifications immediately on top of it. Now, there always will be some, and the repo, the repository system, is often one of them, your apt-gets or your yums. So I would rather use yum or apt than the snap store. The snap store just adds this entire layer of complexity that you already have simplified by being on Linux in the first place if you just know which repo you're going to use. So I lean towards Debian, but scripts to change between Debian and the Red Hat package management system, RPM, which is behind yum, are easy enough. So 80/20 rule says make your green bag Linux that you carry around with you, build that server from a standard bash script that is allowed to do apt or yum commands. And that will last you the rest of your life. That's a very sharp tool. And it's a tool that's easy to keep sharp. It will always be sharp and updated because it's so much in the mainstream and so much of what everything is built upon. If you doubt me that Debian has become it, Chrome OS is based on Debian. Microsoft's default Linux under Windows subsystem for Linux is a Debian Linux. It's Ubuntu, but Ubuntu is Debian. So that's where I am right now. I'm going to be making such an install script of a virtual machine adapt to whether it's on being run on a Windows machine to set up a Windows VM, a Windows Linux VM, or being run on a Mac to set up a Mac Linux VM, so that Pipulate and in turn all the free and open source SEO tools and all the tutorials and everything I'm doing for my new employer work and are universal and will work exactly the same for everyone who tries to use it. There will be resistance, and I'll make everything work in collab without the overhead of dependencies, with the Linux green bag dependency, as I can. But there will be things like automated browser actions that can't be done easily that way, at least not for free. Everyone wants to insert their own proprietary API stuff. Anyway, that's where I'll wrap up. Thanks for joining me. See you soon, and don't forget to subscribe.